Hello and welcome to Football 301. Here I am your host, Nate Tice. Here we are to recap week 4, like every Sunday. To help me do that on a great slate of games, that we had some undefeated matchups, some other winning team matchups that were super entertaining. We also had almost a loser leaves town match in week 4, it felt like. To help me recap all of that, like every Sunday, and a preview every Thursday. My guy, Mr. Forverts, Charles McDonald. How you doing today, Chuck? You enjoyed today's slate of games?
I did. It was fun. Yeah, we had another good witching hour today. The 4 p.m. games, minus the Chiefs Ravens game, were all pretty competitive. So I'm pleased with today. I obviously am frustrated for Baltimore with how uh, that game ended for them, especially with Lamar Jackson getting hurt and Nate Wiggins getting hurt. So just super thin on defense. But overall, it was a pretty fun day of football.
It was. I know. I can't wait to jump into the highs and lows. But before we do that, make sure to check us out on the Yahoo Sports Network, our brand new streaming TV channel. The Yahoo Sports Network is available to stream on leading fast services or on yahoosports.tv. But we're going to get into the games with our weekly segment. Go through week 4 with 3 highs, 3 lows. First, we had a scorcher in Tampa between 2 3-0 NFC teams leading their division. We had the Eagles and the Bucks. What's becoming a nice little rivalry between these two. It felt heated today, not only just literally, but also figuratively. The Eagles won this game 31-25. Plenty of big plays, special teams big plays on both sides on offense. Got some defensive big plays. Felt like everything kind of got crazy in the second half, but the Eagles take this one home. We had a 65-yard field goal in this game by Chase McLaughlin. Humid weather, that definitely helps. Baker, iffy day, up and down day. Hurts did enough. He had a nice little drive, I thought, to open the game and everything. But what'd you think about this Eagles win? What'd you think about the overall? What were your overall takeaways, Charles McDonald, about Bucks and Eagles?
Both. I know one of these teams is going to end up 4-0 today, but man, both these teams feel pretty flawed, just after watching them play. And not even just like today, like throughout the whole course of the season for the Eagles. Like the Eagles, they had another tale of two halves type of game. But this week they got their big performance in the first half. 28 plays, 200 yards, 7.2 yards per play, 4.25 yards per drive, or points per drive. They were 70% dropback success rate, 63% rushing success rate, 100% red zone success rate. Like they were just absolutely killing them in the first half. And not even just that, but the defense played well too. They held Tampa Bay to 3.1 yards per play and a 33% dropback success rate. But in the second half, it's funny because if you just look at just the raw stats for the second half, you'll see the Eagles finished with -1 yards for the whole second half. But you do also remember they had the punt, running back for a safety to just kill clock on the last play games. That was for -34 yards. So really, before that play, they had run 29 plays for 33 yards in the second half. And before that final drive, they had run, 26 plays for 29 yards? So pretty rough in the second half. And if you pull out that second drive, or you pull out that final drive for the Eagles where they just kind of milked the clock away, Jalen Hurts still finished with a 9% dropback success rate in the second half. Below 10% is really bad. So I'm still trying to shocking. Below 10%.
Thanks for clarifying. Really I wasn't sure.
So I guess I'm still trying to figure out like where the Eagles are. And even like Tampa Bay, they had an interesting game where like in the second half they were better, but it didn't feel like they were ever like really consistent. I think it's even pulled back in some of the data when you look at 35% success rate in the second half, but almost 8 yards per play. Like they were just kind of living off chunks when they were able to get it, but they still felt like they were still trying to find their groove offensively in the second half. It never quite got there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I felt like that the Eagles defense really clamped down today, and you kind of felt the injuries for the Bucs O-line, that even though you get Tristan Wirfs back, you're still missing 2 starters on the right side. They had a 37% dropback success rate, which was their worst since the start of last year. So kind of this new era of Bucs offense. They only had, like you said, the 28% success rate in the run game, which was their 3rd worst since the start of last year. Their 2nd worst was last week against the Jets. Their 4th worst was week one against the Falcons, and only 1 explosive run. So it was tangible. It felt like that they just couldn't get really anything going. Even the 2 big plays were just kind of One was a botch or a guy, kind of stumble, whatever, and then extended play. And the other was somehow didn't get picked off. A ball went through two Eagles defenders, and Ibuka, comes in scot free. But I wanted to give a shout out to Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell. I thought they were phenomenal today. They played out of their minds. DeJean had 8 solo tackles on top of 2 PBUs and on top of what should have been an interception, but got called back on a flea flicker. 4 of those were stops, which means we always talk about success rate. That means a successful play for the defense and unsuccessful play for the offense. And then Quinion Mitchell also had 4 solo tackles. All of them were stops. Also, he was targeted 9 times today. He only allowed 2 catches for 6 yards, and the average separation on those targets was 0.8 yards. He had some nice plays. He had the one really nice one on Godwin, I thought, and I thought those 2 were just fantastic today. It was, but you're right though. The Bucs offense just couldn't get going. I thought the Eagles, of course, controlled the whole game. The Bucs hung in there. They just kept hanging in there. But this is kind of what this offense feels like this year. A little bit more, especially with Mike Evans out, but a little bit more up and down, as opposed to last year, which was just one of the best offenses in the NFL. But yeah, and I thought the Bucs defense though, they really stepped up. And our friend Keegan Abdu had the stat where the first half, Jalen Hurts had 16 pass attempts, 0 of them were tight window throws. And then the second half, he had 7 pass attempts, or at least for the time I looked at the stat, 5 of them were tight window throws. And you remember that sequence at the start of fourth quarter? It was like pass AJ Brown, pass AJ Brown, pass AJ Brown. It was like PBU, PBU, PBU. And I was like, yeah. And, but this is what the Bucs do. This is a good team. They got the special team score. The Saquon Barkley touchdown off the tush push was really cool. They've done that before, but it was kind of nice to see it go for a touchdown as opposed to maybe just like a 4-yard gain or something. Got the shovel touchdown, Matt Canada style. And also Jackson Dart also had a touchdown on that too, to Theon Johnson. And then the Chiefs' favorite play, the little quad. They used to do that to Don Terry Poe. They did it to Dallas Goedert today.
Oh, yes.
Quad. Yeah. And they just just run him down screen, basically. Yeah. But I thought they heated up Baker, and Baker had an awful interception at the end of the game. Under pressure today, Baker's 6 of 15 for 108 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And I just feel like that's how the Bucs are going to feel this year. A little bit. I think the defense is more steady, on top of the explosive stuff they can do, but I think the offense is just going to be up and down. Eagles pulled it off as well.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay defense, I thought they did a pretty good job today, all things considered, especially in the second half. If you just pull out the punter nonsense at the last play of the game, they held the Bucs. The Bucs held the Eagles to 26 carries for 75 yards on design rushes, and Barkley had 19 carries for 43 yards on those plays. And in the second half, they held Jalen Hurts to negative 18 net passing yards on 11 dropbacks. And negative 0.9 EPA per dropback, so almost a full point of expected value lost on every Jalen Hurts dropback in the second half. So I can't figure out what the Eagles are, but they are 4-0. I know that for sure.
They just keep winning games. That I know. That's why it's like one of the things they just always do this. I've learned like long ago to just understand that this is how it happens. It's funny because the first quarter of Jalen Hurts, I was like, hey, he's doing some nice stuff. He had a throw to his left to Devontae Smith where he actually like turned and threw it. And I was like, I've never seen you do that before. This is cool. And then it kind of the second half was kind of more I was expecting, but yeah, just to cap it off. Yeah. The Eagles had 0 explosive plays in the second half, 22% success rate, 9% passing success rate, like you said, and 28% rushing success rate. So it turned into a kind of a rock fight with a couple fireworks in the second half, but entertaining game though. I was riveted by that game. I was watching every play, every series. So that one's going to be a fun one to review. All right, moving on to high number 2. This is the Steelers' dark magic continues. This time international style to honor the Roonies. They played this game in Dublin. I don't know if they actually said that, but I'm just guessing the association here. Steelers win this game 24-21. I just want to start off before I kick it to you, Charles. I did not need to see 50-something dropbacks by Carson Wentz at 6:30 in the morning, West Coast time. I just did not need to start my day with 50-plus dropbacks from Carson Wentz. That's just and 6 sacks. 54 dropbacks, 6 sacks. He went 30-46 for 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. But this was kind of one of your nominees. So I want you to lead us off. What you thinking about the Steelers right now, who are 3-1 in the AFC North?
Yes. I think everything you said about Carson Wentz and how no one needs to see that is
No.
100% spot on. I mean, I'm so good. I'm watching that again for the rest of the season. But
Good.
even then, they still had a chance to win that game at the end before maybe the worst, for sure this season, but one of the worst 2-minute drives I've ever seen that Carson Wentz tried to put together, where every play just felt like straight chaos. Throwing the ball in the coverage, interceptions getting dropped, and then eventually just couldn't close it on the fourth down. They barely moved the ball at all. But in the fourth quarter, the Vikings ran 22 plays for 192 yards, 8.7 yards per play, and they had a 68% success rate. And that's with, Carson Wentz leading this offense if you watch that game this morning, I don't really even know how to describe it. It was really bad for the first 3 quarters, and then it just kind of caught fire in the fourth quarter, and kind of made a game at the end before they blew it. And I think that if you're a Steelers fan, that part should be kind of concerning, right? Where, because if you have aspirations of like holding on to this division lead, I know we saw the Ravens today, but it's just hard not to believe that if this Lamar Jackson injury isn't too serious, that they'll be a threat to at least like catch up in the AFC North race. Just because of how talented those guys are. But to allow Carson Wentz to have a 0.7 EPA per dropback, they had a 66% rush success rate, 13.6% explosive play rate in the fourth quarter. That, to me, still shows that this defense is kind of leaky in a way that's fairly concerning. But at least you got enough from the offense today to kind of hold them off. I thought it was a little bit better day for the offense. Kent Gainwell had a really strong day running the ball. Really, the offensive line played pretty well in the run game, so that's a positive. But man, this Steelers defense is not looking very Steelersy, through the first month of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Carson Wentz almost had a 50% dropback success rate today, so just even the full game, which felt pretty crappy from him, to be honest.
Right, it did not feel good.
Other than like, hey, where's Justin Jefferson at? It was kind of like, all right. He threw some balls behind. He threw one behind to Hawkinson that. Even Olsen was just like, you try to help out your quarterback and try to bail him out from time to time, but sometimes you only can do so much. Greg Olsen tries to be pretty, like good, like he doesn't kind of bash anybody, and that was kind of the meanest I've heard him get after a quarterback. But the Vikings had 7 explosive plays. This is what they all go for. But then, I just look back and I was like, I don't remember too many bad Steelers plays. There was the DK Metcalf like catch and run. I don't remember any like huge plays. But they just didn't have any bad plays. And then looking at the stats, it was like they didn't have many bad plays. 57% success rate, 64% passing success rate. And Aaron Rodgers only threw the ball past 10 yards 3 times, 10 or more air yards 3 times the entire game. Yeah. The one was the fade to DK Metcalf. One was the Metcalf catch and run, where Ivan Pace kind of got too wide as a hooked flat defender. And then I think one other incompletion, I can't remember, but 2 for 3. That's all. He only got pressured 5 times. So you mentioned the Steelers offensive line. Like Rodgers was getting rid of the ball quick. 16 of his passes were under 2.5, took 2.5 seconds time to throw. But he only got pressured 5 times. He went 2 of 3, 12 yards, and got sacked twice, which 40% pressure to sack rate. It's kind of funny. But that's kind of like, hey, if you're not going to pressure him, he can do this. Like, and I thought the Vikings got a little too cute sometimes on defense. They're trying some funky looks, and then like they got kind of caught. And there's some like gimmies that Rodgers had, and that's why he had all those successful passes throughout the day. Yeah, but he was 13 of 16, 174 yards. On throws that took 2.5 seconds or under. He's not great against the blitz still and against funky looks, but if you're just going to let him have free access throws, like he can just do this all day. But man, Vikings O-line. O'Neal got hurt. Ryan Kelly got another concussion. Donovan Jackson's already hurt. Christian Darrisaw just got back from injury. It's like, oh man, I feel just weird about this Vikings team right now.
Yeah. They're just in such a weird spot with JJ hurt. He wasn't playing well, so like you still got to figure out like how you manage that when he gets back, because it's not like Carson Wentz has particularly been playing well. And I know you look at some of the stats today, and it feels good, because when you were saying Rodgers 10 yards plus 8 yards per attempt, that made me look at Carson Wentz for the day. He was 8 for 15, 216 yards, was averaging 0.9 EPA per dropback, 60% success rate, and a 46% explosive pass rate on those plays. I mean,
46?
40, yes, 46. 40. Yeah. On his pass with air yards for 10 or more. He went 8 for 15. I mean, Dude, just a weird day from him where
Yeah.
I swear he was not good if you watch this game, but did just enough to actually kind of keep them in there with some big plays. Because
Yeah.
the funny thing about Carson Wentz is like he still plays sometimes like he's physically is the guy from 2017 where he'll try to do like the dip under stuff and extend after the,
Yeah.
the scramble and throw on the run, but
Yes.
not quite there anymore. It's not quite there anymore.
No. It's not 2017 ever again. Like he has the longest internal clock I've ever seen from like a long-term starter. He is bad. He's like, no, I get 4 Mississippis. Like you, 1 Mississippi, 2. He's like, no, I get all 4. Like there's no heating up Carson Wentz. He does not feel heat, and I mean that in the bad way. He has a sundial for a clock. So last thing is Croke Park seemed to be a fast track in Dublin. We had Peyton Wilson, linebacker for the Steelers, hit 22.48 miles an hour, according to Next Gen Stats, fastest by a linebacker since at least 2018. And that was on the play. He ran down Jordan Addison, who broke 20 miles an hour, by the way. And people were like, oh, he's slow now. I mean, you hit 20 miles an hour. Well, come on. Right. And then Isaiah Rodgers, I was on the DK Metcalf catch and run. He had his block field goal as well, but he hit the fastest speed in Next Gen Stats' database on we're trying to run down DK Metcalf he hit 23.32 miles an hour. Thought that was interesting. Fast. I had people posting Usain Bolt stats. I'm like, that's great. I'm just sharing a factoid that I thought was interesting. Guy ran really fast and he looked really fast. And Isaiah Rodgers is looking like one of the best kind of free agent signings in the entire NFL. Like, I mean, he's been fantastic for the Vikings. So there's one bright spot, I guess, on that defense today. Who's the Jalen Redmond had some nice plays as well. I'll give him a shout out. But Steelers with the black magic, and I got to look at their schedule real quick before I kick it forward. They got Browns, Bengals, and then they host the Packers. That's fun. All right, that's fun. All right. So we got some good games coming up. And then Colts. All right, we're gonna go on now to high number 3, the Rams take down the high flying Colts. The Rams win 27-20. Very entertaining game. Some of Daniel Jones's BABIP, which I referred to on Thursday, kind of came back to haunt him with a couple picks, one at the beginning, one at the end, but still moved the ball very well today. I thought, Matthew Stafford found Xavier Howard somewhere in the first quarter, and it just was kind of game over for the Colts defense after that point in time. Kind of capped off at the very end, Tutu Atwell, 88-yard touchdown. Very entertaining game, Chuck. Also featured an 80 Mitchell fumble through the end zone, which I'm sure you can't wait to hit on. But what were your takeaways from this game?
I don't know how they keep giving that guy the ball, and it's frustrating because he's obviously like clearly has some talent there. The
fumble was he made a one-handed catch on his inside hand in coverage.
Exactly.
Like,
and then it's just
I was watching it on my phone because I was going down to my kitchen. And I was like, Jim Bob Cooter called it. There he goes. Oh no. I saw him dive for the ball in the end zone. I was like, he fumbled it. Like that yes, you only act that way if you did a certain dumb thing. So continue.
Yeah, and then you see the camera angle from the shot from the side. He wasn't even close to the end zone before that ball came out of his hands. Like that was a fumble all the way. And then I kind of felt bad for him on the sideline because like he couldn't get over it. And obviously, having 7 points here instead of giving the ball back to the Rams would have been a little helpful at the end of the day. Yeah. So I can understand why he's upset. But man, it just seems like he keeps making like dumb mistakes. Like even last year, a more extreme version of it against the Broncos on the double pass when he's out there like it's Thanksgiving Day and flipping the ball and looking at the laces and patting it down and throws it across the field. And Nick Bonito just
all-time football 301 game, by the way. I think we're going to refer to that game for like for the rest of our lives. As long as I know you, for the rest of our lives, we're going to refer to that.
Oh God, yeah. But yeah, A.D. Mitchell again today just had another really bad play that hurt the Colts. But overall, man, I came away from this game feeling pretty impressed with the Colts, like because the Rams are a good team. I think we can say for sure Rams are a good team. So far, the Stafford back stuff hasn't popped up. He's looked great. The offense has been churning. The defense has been pretty good, and they even have some more strong moments today against the offense that's been lighting everyone on fire. But I still thought the Colts looked like a real football team. Like I think this should be probably close to like a top 10 offense for the rest of the season. Probably not blazing the world on fire. 4 points per drive, stuff like that. But if you just look at what they could have been, where they could have been at the end of the game, if A.D. Mitchell had just held onto the ball, that would have been there would have been a totally different ball game at the end of it, and they might have had a chance to go to overtime. But I know Daniel Jones didn't have his best day, but still, like they were functional enough in the passing game at times. Tyler Warren had a pretty big day. I mean, that Colts team, I think you just kind of got to give them props based on what the expectations were coming into the season, even though they did lay an egg at times today. That was a pretty strong performance, I thought.
They look like a playoff team. Like I mean,
Right.
I'm not saying contender, but they look like a playoff team to me. Because like you said, I agree with you. I think the Rams are good. I think outside, you can run on the Rams a little bit, and their corners aren't the greatest, but they kind of know that, so they kind of do things to try and mitigate that. And I think they're really well coached and sound on defense, and they got a pass rush, which is the ultimate equalizer, especially in the playoffs. And I think for the Colts, they got some stuff to them on defense too. The Rams are a hard guard right now. Like there's not many teams slowing down this offense especially when they're clicking. I mean, Puka Nacua just in the first half went 7 receptions, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, there's not many teams are going to be stopping that because then it's like, oh yeah, and then there's Devontae Adams. Like the Devontae Adams touchdown, by the way, was hilarious from Stafford because they run so many high lows. Like if you ever watch the Rams, there's so many dig routes and so many underneath routes, and the tight end's underneath and he's open, and Stafford just skips it and just throws. No, I'm going to throw the dig like in between two guys. Like, nah, I don't need the easy throw. I'm going to take the hard throw. I got it for a touchdown. But getting back to the Colts, I feel pretty good about them. The designs are really cool. Jonathan Taylor, I know it wasn't a huge statistical day, but he had the one touchdown called back because of an AD Mitchell hold. But that he looks so good. Like the run game looks good. I think Jones is more than capable. He's going to have a couple dumb moments, but I don't know. He's been a good point shoot guy and progressing fine enough. I'm glad you mentioned Tyler Warren because I agree. I think they're doing some really cool design stuff with him. They gave him a handoff from fullback spot, ton of sail routes. They do some cool stuff with him. And then the Rams. I mean, they won the game. Jared Verse had 6 pressures, including 3 quick pressures. He detonated Bordellini on a 3rd down where he was lined up over him, and he just full running start. Timed up the snap, destroys him. I mean, poor Bordellini just had to eat it. And he tried to jump over him to make the sack. And then Cam Curl had a great game. Kobe Turner had some quick pressures. So there's just some good stuff, man. It was just, I really enjoyed this game. I do have to say, though, the big glaring weakness for that Colts team is Xavier Howard. And I mean it. That's second drive.
They're looking for him.
Puka Nacua has a crosser and then a go ball. And I was like, oh, this is going to be – he got targeted 10 times on 40 coverage snaps. So 25% of the time he was getting targeted. He allowed 7 receptions for 112 yards and 1 touchdown, which is actually the same that Nacua had. And then most of that was to Puka Nacua. But it was just the guy absolutely got decimated today. But, yeah, fun game. I thought this was just a super fun game. I got to see what their schedules are right now because –
you can just see offenses looking for Xavier Howard now. That's multiple weeks where offense is like, where is he at? Where's that old man at?
That's what it is. I mean, because it was just anytime they were in man coverage, it felt like he got targeted, which helps. I mean, the end of the half drive, you just felt it from the Rams where it was like, you're going to single guard Devontae Adams. Okay, we'll go to him. Oh, you're going to single guard Puka Nacua. We're going to go to him. And then Nacua just is torching everybody right now. Colts got Raiders, Cardinals, Chargers, and then Titans because they get to play in that AFC South. And the Rams got 49ers, which would be a fun game Thursday night. And then they got at Ravens, at Jags, host Saints. So interesting schedule there for the Rams. All right. We're moving on now to the lows. Is it getting early? Is it too much right now? Are we saying loser? Are they leaving town right now? The Ravens, who are 1-3, the 1-3 Baltimore Ravens lose to the Chiefs at Kansas City, which we said in our prediction show. Can't believe Patrick Mahomes is underdog at home again against this Ravens team, but Chiefs win 37-20. Ravens and Lamar got hurt. A bunch of defenders got hurt. Would you see Cooper Rush out there? It's the white flag. Before we get into the Chiefs, how are you feeling about the Ravens right now?
Oh man, I mean they're really in danger now. Obviously the biggest thing is seeing where Lamar Jackson's health is. Because man, if he misses extended time, that defense is just not good enough right now to cover for them. They were down 6 starters at one point in the game, and then Nate Wiggins got hurt too. So like they are just decimated on defense. see what happens with Jackson. But man, it's really hard to feel. I don't know if you could possibly feel worse than this walking out of this game if you're Baltimore, because of the injury to Jackson. Like I think you're looking at this like, if you had lost this game and Jackson was healthy, you're probably looking like, wow, that was bad. But at least you can still drop a scenario where maybe they can get back into it for the division race and host a playoff game. Come January, and then you don't really know what happens. But now with him being hurt, it's really hard to imagine that they'll be able to bounce back from this if he misses extended time.
Oh no, they're done.
Yeah,
I know. There's no. I'm sorry. I would just say it right now. It's if he misses time,
I'm just trying to lessen the blood. Yeah, they're done. If he misses like a month, they're cooked.
No.
Yeah.
I know you're trying. I know, but it's Lamar. The drop off from Lamar to Cooper Rush is pretty great, especially how this offense operates, which is Lamar, go do something, please, pretty please, go do something. But yeah, I mean, just even before we get into the offense stuff, it's just like their defense is just that's like a kneecapping unit right now. Like they can't contend with that defense. And I know maybe you get some reinforcements, but they just lost a whole bunch of guys. And I mean, that's on top of like how the linebackers were playing. And I mean, the Chiefs in the first half had their best success rate of the season in the first half, 4 explosive plays, which is the most in the half of the season. They had actually explosive passes. I saw Xavier Worthy actually getting around. And so, but I just think that Ravens unit, I always use this analogy. I mean, probably too much sometimes, but they just lack teeth. There's no teeth, absolutely none. It's pure gums on that Ravens defense right now. And I knew the Chiefs offense was kind of, they're going up right now. Like they're on the upswing. I don't think it's not top 5 unit or anything like that, but they're on the upswing where they could be competent. Kingsley Suamataia only did not allow pressure today. He only allowed 1 last week, so he's coming along. Simmons has played well. So, man, if you're getting the offensive line right, and even if, I mean, they got Brashard Smith some touches today as well. But, man, it was just – I think this Ravens defense is just they can't contend with anybody. They can't keep up with anybody because you're giving up explosive passes on top of all the runs where you have literally the worst – if the season ended after last week, the worst success rate allowed in the run game according to Next Gen Stats since they've started their stats. So 10 years, you just can't win that way. So getting to, I don't know, enough about Ravens wantness. How you feeling about the Chiefs now? Was that what you wanted to see? Any thoughts on their offensive operation?
I mean, it looked better. It definitely looked better, but
Ravens mouthwash.
I think that's mostly what it was. You got to play one of the worst defenses in the league, and we talked about in the preview show, they were top 10 in EPA per play going into that game. So it's not like as bad as it felt watching the Chiefs. It's not like the offense had actually been bad. I think obviously a lot of that was due to Mahomes just kind of saying, nope, we're not going to look like this. We got to try something else. I'm going to drag us here a little bit. But I thought today was obviously like their best offensive performance from a whole. But still, I think you want to see them run the ball a bit better than they did. But, baby steps. We'll take what we can get with them.
That's all we can ask for. Just some baby steps, right? Just some competency, just some new ideas, just some speed, just some stuff. But no, I thought Mahomes looked good today. I was just all right. This is more kind of I was picturing this offense. Not the greatest unit I've ever seen, but just solid. And then the defense can be chaotic and have some stuff. They have some weaknesses too. But I always trust Spagnuolo. All right, moving on to low number 2, and this is involving another AFC West team. That is the Chargers losing to the Giants in Jackson Dart's first start, which I'm sure is the only time we'll hear about this game for the rest of the week. The Giants win 21-18, but I really wanted the low. I think the low of this entire game was the Chargers offensive line. Joe Alt is now injured, and Justin Herbert has now, how many times do you think he's been pressured in the last 2 games? You can do either rate or
a rate. I'll probably go like 44, 45, 46% in that range.
He's been pressured 50 times on 95 dropbacks over the last 2 weeks.
That was close.
50 pressure. So pretty good. You can't win that way. We just talked about leaky rush defense being crippling. As good as we were feeling about the Chargers, this was one of the weaknesses of this team. And now with injuries cropping up, it just feels even weaker. Where Herbert had some great throws. The Quentin Johnson TD was great. It was unbelievable. But then it was just like Amari and Hampton had some big plays, but they couldn't establish a lot of like longer drives. It felt just kind of hit and miss. And then meanwhile on defense, the first drive was great. And then I thought, Dart's a really tough runner. I kind of figured we'd see plenty of chicks and Dart rushing the ball and running the ball. They tried to give him some concepts he was comfortable with throwing the ball. But I mean, they honed in on it. They tightened down, but then they just kind of let some stuff over the middle happen, like just little dinks on defense, which I thought was really surprising from that defensive unit where they just couldn't make that tackle. Dart ran hard, but also it's like, it's a quarterback making his first start. At one point they dropped 9 into coverage, which I thought was pretty interesting and pretty funny, but how are we feeling about the Chargers now, Charles? Do you think this is kind of like where I just can't picture the reinforcements now. So it just feels like it's just going to be one of these things where it's just going to hang over their head the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I did see the Joe Alt play. I mean, it looked pretty bad. So and then he got carted off. He was able to walk off first and cart it off. So maybe his season's not over. Or he's not totally, messed up because my God, do they need him out there? Like they just don't have much left. And quite honestly, it's not. I don't even think like this is like a Charger specific thing. I mean, how many teams will be able to survive like 3 offensive lineman starters being out? We saw Tampa Bay struggle with that today. It's a lot of talent to lose, and they got kind of punched in the mouth. I think in the second half where they really struggled to kind of get anything going. Jackson Dart, if you just look at the stats, it looked like he had a bad day in Herbert, and maybe he was a little bit more efficient. But man, Herbert was really under duress. Didn't look good. But the Chargers in general, they should also feel bad about losing this game. Like it was you were favored by 6.5, and I know it's the early morning start. You get to fly across the country, but still, getting punked by the Giants at home, having them be able to run the ball on you like that. Jackson Dart, like as a design runner, did some quality stuff today. Like it was an interesting game plan. I definitely want to see more from Jackson Dart as a thrower, but as a runner, it seems like they've got some stuff figured out between him and Scadaboo.
No, I agree. It was definitely some battering ram going on with those run plays. Yeah. And hey, man, he's tough as hell. Like I'll give it to him. He's lowering his head for better for worse. I'm kind of like, all right, let's try and get you for a long career, not just 1 week. I mean, shoot, the Chargers had 4 explosive runs. Like their explosive run rate today was 30%. And it just felt like it was just one of those stupid. This was such a worthy slop watch. Like this game was such a slop watch game. That's why we nominated it. And man, they just didn't have that many 3 and outs. They just couldn't get the drives and just had those bad moments. I thought the touchdown Herbert had to Quentin Johnson was awesome. It was, and apparently Trent Green undersold it, but I didn't hear him say it. But I was like, that's a freaking ridiculous throw. Chargers play the Commanders, Dolphins, Colts, Vikings, Titans, Steelers. They got a nice little month of October there, so they can get right. I mean, so look, Commanders pass rush has been actually okay, but Dolphins pass rush, nah. I mean, so it's not really like some decimating things. The Vikings is interesting, but like Herbert actually has had some good answers to Brian Flores in the past, which I think will be an interesting matchup. But they're in it in this AFC West. But man, that poor old line. Just look at the Texans right now. I know they won today, but it's just like that's just crippling, and that's just so scary, especially for this unit stuff. But shout out to the Giants. I think they played the Saints next week, so a little easier matchup in theory than Jesse Minter and that Chargers team. I mean, Dart, how many times did he get sacked? He got sacked 6 times today.
5 times, 6 times. Yeah.
22%.
No Dan Haley strip sack though. No Dan Haley strip sack.
No, but you knew who did cash in a Hail Mary. That's our low number 3, but it's a high for Nate. That is the 49ers having 4. I did. 49ers had 4 turnovers and lost to the Jags. Jaguars win 25-20. That was my Hail Mary. Jags win outright. That's 3.5 point underdogs, I think it was. A crazy Hail Mary. Totally, really a leap of faith there. But Jags keep racking up those turnovers. Offense avoided the crippling mistake somehow, some way. No pop ball went anywhere. Every interception got called back. Just one of these games for the 49ers that definitely felt the loss of Nick Bosa, but 49ers finished with 4 turnovers. Jags win this game. How'd you feel about this one, Chuck?
I feel I'm getting whiplash from the Jaguars defense this year because last year it was it was one of those things where they had a year where the defense really struggled to get turnovers like all season.
Yeah,
I want to say they had like 8 last year, and they're already
I
at
think
11
so.
or 12 this year, which is just such a crazy like reversal of fortune and like regression to the mean, because 8 is low, and now
Yeah,
you're getting to this many through just 4 games in the
almost three a
season.
game.
Like, right. If they can keep this pace up, I mean, that would be like the most opportunistic defense probably since like the modern NFL started. And I mean, like some of it does look sustainable. Like some of the way they're able to get up the field and rush the passer. We'll see what happens with Trayvon Walker, because I think he got injured today and had to miss some
Yeah.
time. So that would definitely be a loss that's felt, because he and Josh Allen and Josh Hines Allen and Devin Lloyd. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they've really stepped
Mm-hmm.
up like in the front, and I think it's making life easier for everyone. So, yeah, shout out to the Jaguars, man. Liam Cohen and the rest of the coaching staff, they've got some things figured out. And I thought even Trevor Lawrence has some nice moments today. He had, a close call on the second to last play of the
Yes, he
game,
did.
when with the slide on the sideline, where I think he just gave the refs a little bit too much room to make their own judgment call there on
Yeah,
the end. Even though I did think he got it down before he went out, but just slide 2 seconds earlier.
just a little earlier.
You'll be in the clear just a little earlier. But he has some nice drives today, man. Like, it's starting to come together a little bit for
Yeah.
what that team is supposed to look like, and to be 3-1. I mean, shoot, don't say that too often about the Jaguars. So good job,
No,
guys. Good job.
And again, wide open division, especially with the Colts losing today. Texans picked up the win. Don't have to worry about the Titans. No, but there wasn't a Jags didn't have many sacks. Like I don't think he got sacked the entire game. Um, Trevor Lawrence, I mean. So I mean that it's a credit to like how quickly he's getting the ball out, and like the O line is really. And I was trying to capture exactly how to describe the Jags O line. They are better, but they're not good.
Yeah.
So they're way better coached than they were last year. As my headphone flies out, way better coached than they were the last couple of years. But they're more like competent, more like solid, as opposed to like, oh man, look at this. And I think some of that is just the whole offense tying together. I think Trevor has a good feel for where the ball needs to go. I think guys are getting comfortable getting open. I think Brian Thomas Jr. was like he got no yak, because every time he caught the ball, he was like looking it in. And then just like, okay,
Yes.
all right, I got it. All right, I got the football right here, like making sure he caught it. Travis Hunter had an incredible catch on the 3rd and 15 backed up. Like that was really cool. That was pretty ballsy. They went like tempo, ran Hunter down the seam against cover 2, and then Trevor just throws it. I mean, you have to throw it high because you have to get over that linebacker, and Hunter makes a great catch on it. So the Jags offense is just fast. Like, so that's why they kind of overcome the O-line a little bit. Like, and maybe just like these plays just happen, like more happens out of what they're getting. But Brian Thomas Jr. is fast. Travis Hunter's fast. Brenton Strange is fast. Etienne's fast. Tootin's fast. Trevor's actually pretty fast as well for a quarterback. So it's like a mistake happens, a missed tackle happens. There's Etienne scoring a touchdown, on a swing route, or one missed tackle happens. I thought the run game plan for the Jags was really good as well. So talking about that old line, the improvement and everything, I think they're just it's well coached. I know they have a lot of penalties, but I chalk that up more just the minor mistakes and getting overwhelmed and stuff, as opposed to maybe like bad process, because I think the process is really good for the Jags right now. I mean, we got a Parker Washington touchdown, a whole bunch of nice plays for them today.
Process looks good for the Jaguars. It is a new world, new season, baby. New season
Completely. I feel weird saying that. I'm glad I rewatched them a ton the last couple of weeks, because it's just like how what the discourse was happening. I'm like, man, they're actually doing a lot of good stuff like that. That's why I kept saying the bones are good. The bones are good. And now you can kind of see it. And the 49ers put up a fight, even with all the turnovers. They had the hook and ladder, which was pretty cool. I thought they also the sick CMC touchdown. That was really cool, the run. But yeah, I mean, the Jags had Dennis Gardick had a forced fumble. Parker Washington had a punt return touchdown. Just the strip sack to win the game. I thought Mark Sanchez struggled a little bit to diagnose what was happening on plays. I'm assuming it was him. I didn't look it up, but just the voice. He couldn't figure out any protections today. He had a rough one today. I thought when we were watching that game.
I was watching it, but it never actually got the noise for me. I had the sound on Kansas City Baltimore most of the time.
Smart. I'm pretty, I'm selective with it. But that one I had it on for a while. So 49ers, they still score points. They still figure out they can't have those turnovers. Nick Bosa's out. I'm worried about the run defense. Again, the Jags found a really good answer for their run for going against this 49ers team. So really good stuff. But before we wrap it up, I wanted to give out some extra credit because I haven't talked about this guy much. And that's Drake May in his start to the season. I had to throw this one in here. I twisted producer Stone's arm. I said, let me talk about him. Drake May is first in success rate, Charles, right now among all quarterbacks. He is top 5 in EAP per dropback. Has not gone against a murderer's row of defenses. I will.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a big caveat there. So we'll hold on to that. But it's what you want to see. 54% success rate on just throws, not even including scrambles and sacks. It's 58%, which is first. So I think in McDaniel's scheme, which isn't super explosive, it kind of lulls you to sleep before they try explosives. He's just been making a ton of right decisions underneath. He's playing with a good clock. Today he finishes 14-17, only hit with 3 touchdowns, which is nice, but had a couple nice over routes to Stephon Diggs, had a back shoulder Stephon Diggs on 1 on 4th down. It's been a lot of high usage underneath throws. Today was a little bit more balanced because they're going against the Panthers and dropped a 40 burger on him. But man, he's looking kind of what I was hoping to see, but maybe even a little more ahead of schedule with this kind of quick game operation they've been doing, true drop back stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they're feeling better about their quarterback than the Panthers are about theirs. So that's one thing.
Yeah, this was going to be a low, but it was kind of like, all right, we just can't pile on the Panthers every week because
they stink.
I know.
So bad. I don't know.
McMillan,
30-0 Falcons. How did you do that? How did you do that?
That's such a weird one, man. Because then you watch the Falcons today, and it's like, oh, that's a little bit better.
They were awesome today. Like
I know. Yeah, I don't get it either. Kyle Pitts had a great game.
Easily Penix's best game of his career. It's just weird.
Yeah. After last week, when it's just NFL, it's always fun. NFL, the Bears Raiders game was a nice little slot fest, but we got a little Ashton Genty. Had a great Caleb Williams throw, the touchdown to Roman Dunze against a blitz, which was awesome. Stood in there, hitched, fired it, glance route. That one fired me up, but we're closing it out today. I'll be back on Tuesday with Matt Harmon with more takeaways from week 4, maybe some more superlative fun stuff. I'm Nate Tice. You can find me at Nate_Tice on social media. That's Charles McDonald. You can find him at 4Verts on social media. Thank you all for joining us. That was a ton of fun. Always recapping the week of the NFL, especially this kind of Sunday slate that had a little bit of everything, a smorgasbord of results. Subscribe to us here at Football 301. We'd really appreciate wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us, rate us. Also watch us on YouTube. Like you guys are watching us live on YouTube right now. Making sure to check us out every Sunday evening/afternoon after the Sunday afternoon games to check us out while we recap these games live. Thanks to Stone, Austin Madison, behind the scenes for making us look and sound good. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining us live. See you guys next time.